Hello and welcome back to the Tyre Recycling Podcast for what is episode 82 in the show's history. You will see that I'm now back in Madrid after what was a very busy 2 weeks in Australia. Today's episode is another interview from the Round Trip Tyre and Conveyor Belt Recycling Summit presented by Tyre Stewardship Australia and Tyrewise. And we have another newcomer to the series in the form of Proge Plast Engineering and their director, Daniele De Maria. Now, Proge Plast Engineering is a long-standing family-owned Italian manufacturing, engineering and manufacturing business specialising in customised polymer processing and circular rubber systems. Dan's role in the business is dedicated to expanding Proge's international footprint by increasing global recognition of its innovative circular manufacturing technologies. Now, these solutions transform recycled rubber crumbs from end-of-life tyres and use conveyor belts into high-performance products produced through advanced calendaring and injection moulding processes for the construction and infrastructure sectors. Hopefully that has given you a little bit of an insight into Proge Plast Engineering and Dan's role at the company. So without any more further ado, let's get stuck into that interview. So now it's time for episode 82 of the Tyre Recycling Podcast, and we are reporting from the Round Trip Tyre and Conveyor Belt Recycling Summit here in Melbourne, Australia, organised by TSA and Tyrewise. Our latest episode welcomes Daniele De Maria, a director from Proge Plast. Proge Plast was established in 1985 by Giuseppe De Maria near Milan, Italy, and is a long-standing family-owned machinery, engineering and manufacturing company specialising in customised polymer processing and circular rubber systems. Obviously, I had to read that out. I wouldn't be able to remember it otherwise. Thank you for joining us today, Dan. Firstly, what are you looking to get out of this show, and do you have any key objectives for this event?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you and great to be here. I think our main objective of being here is to understand what's happening in this part of the world. We're based out of Italy. Myself, I'm based in Singapore, but we have activities in the US. But Australia, New Zealand is very interesting to us for the current state of events. So we're here for meeting the industry players and see how the ecosystem is looking at the problem and the solutions, and to present as well what we're doing and where is our technology, and ultimately see if there is opportunities for us to be present in this market as well with our technology.
Absolutely. Obviously, I've got questions lined up for you to explain a bit more about your technology later, but maybe you could give us an overview of Proge Plast as a company and your close relationship now to Tyre Recycling and Conveyor Belts.
Yes, thank you. The company, it's a micro company, started 40 years ago by my uncle in Gallarate near Milan, in north of Italy. My cousin Massimo is the managing director, and that is fundamentally an engineering company. We have done machinery for polymers for 40 years. In the last 10 years, we have adapted the technology to use recycled rubber from used tires, so just standard rubber crumbs. And throughout trial and error and a lot of errors, but we ultimately developed a production technology and compounds and end products that are extremely effective for certain kind of industries like sports, like constructions, like infrastructure. And these are products that are very cost effective. They are extremely performing compared to the products that we're going to replace, and they're made of up to 100% recycled materials. So it's, I think it's innovations that we would like to promote and let people understand what we're doing.
Absolutely. That's a good overview. And so could you talk more in detail then about your technology, specifically about your rubber granular extruder? How does that work? What's can it process all sizes of rubber granules? What's the output? There's loads of questions that we have regarding your technology.
Yeah, so it's a traditional extrusion technology that has been adapted for this kind of materials, rubber crumbs, which in our compounds they are about 70-80% of the raw materials, and the remainder, depending on the compounds and the products that we would like to produce, they could be another 20-30% of recycled polymers or other materials, depending on what we're trying to achieve. So the raw materials enter our extrusion chambers, and then there is a die head that spreads the material over either calendering, and that's we produce specific products that are like big mats, for example, for shock absorption in sport applications, like shock pads that go under the synthetic turfs, or we can granulate the compounds and then go in injection molding, which is possibly the biggest innovation because it's something that we've been really pushing the last couple of years. And then they go into presses, injection molding machines, and the material being made of a high percentage of recycled rubber is very flexible.
Yeah,
so
sure.
We can so far we've been printing a vast array of products, and it's been very, very positive. Then from that into manufacturing and commercialization, distribution, that's where we are looking for partners, especially in different regions of the world, to sort of work with us in different potential operating models to bring the products to the public.
Absolutely. I'll go into detail a bit more about those partnerships. Just on the output, like what's the output usually? Is it like molded goods or is it like sheet material? And also, what question here regarding how you handle like contaminants such as steel and fibers?
Yeah. So we take the rubber crumb already after the processing.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we also work with the value chain partners to make sure that the steel is taken out and the other components.
So it's taken out before your process. Exactly. Okay.
But that we have noticed that's getting more mainstream. So there's different technologies, but ultimately it's something that it's already out there. It needs to be adopted. It's very mechanical, so it's available. Then we take the rubber crumbs, and coming from an engineering company, we can literally tailor make the machine and the capacity to what is needed. So the outcome can be either calendering in line, these big mats, as you were saying, or crumbs that then we go into injection molding with.
Okay.
And that's another thing that we are exploring around the world is what is the capabilities in different markets in terms of injection molding, because every country is a bit different. What I think is important is that the market or the business proposition here is regional. So when you think of Australia, it's manufactured in Australia. It's important that yes, the technology might come from Italy, from us, but the loop needs to be a closed loop that takes the raw materials and distributes the products in a shorter range. Especially in Australia, of course, the distances are huge. But the same goes in Europe or in the US. Every region, every state have sort of different regulations, and then it's important that we also work in the ecosystem with the partners to make sure that everyone is aligned. Because theoretically, we could have a manufacturing plant in a lot of different regions globally, because ultimately tires are available everywhere, and developing the end markets for it then is the key to have a pull factor to make the whole business proposition work.
Absolutely. And you touched a little bit upon it there, your vision for other markets. You obviously notice you've got various patents for your your technology. I'm judging then by what you're saying. Are you looking more at like joint ventures and partnerships with recyclers rather than selling the equipment?
That's correct. Yeah. So historically, we have been selling equipment. Again, different markets and different kind of equipments. What we notice now, and that's also why the importance on intellectual property. Some of it is patented, some of it is just protected. But we develop the technology both on manufacturing machinery, on different kind of compounds, and on different kind of products. So we have a wide overview of the production process. And we are a small family company, so we're flexible in discussing what kind of operating model we would like to work with. Ultimately, and that's why we're here as well. We like to meet the people in the industry and see if we have an alignment on the strategy. And then whether it's a joint venture, whether it's a sale of technology, whether it's pure sale of machinery, then it very much depends on the discussion. Ideally, we would like to be committed with the partner, develop the market and be in there in the long term. Also because there's always a need for continuous innovation. So, sometimes you go in the market with a product, you get the feedbacks, you need to tweak things and adjust the hardware and the software and make sure that it's always relevant. And that's what we do. So the attention to the intellectual property and innovation is absolute for us.
So what stage are you at with that strategy then? Have you had any success marketing or commercializing this machinery outside of Europe?
Yeah. So historically we were present in Italy, in Europe, in the US for the last, let's say 8 years with partners that adopted our technology and we work on developments with them. Different industries in the US have been more in the sport industry. In Europe is a bit more in the construction industry and infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it very much depends also what you put the focus on. Sometimes you channel yourself to something specific and you become good at that. In Australia, New Zealand, I would think that infrastructure and construction could be a good market to look at. But again, that's why we're here to
find out,
have a chat with them and find out.
Are there any particular obviously you're here looking at Australia, but are there any particular markets that you are looking at the moment then?
The focus right now is to cement what we do in Italy and in Europe with a different operating model. Again, it's not just selling a machinery anymore. It's partnering with the value chain partners eventually end to end. So I think that's a bit of a change in our strategy compared to what we've been doing for so long, and that's where the focus is now. Then where to go next? Ultimately, it's a global business, and I think that's the way to look at it. There has to be a lot of cross contamination around the world. Because we see that in some areas, there's some developments that others don't have. But if you can bring that together, everyone can come together. And ultimately, I think the mission for everyone is to use the waste in a better way and doing good business in between in the process, of course. So we're not agnostic about a region more than another, but obviously closer to home is the easiest, and then that's why we are around the world to see where the opportunities are.
Absolutely, I think what you said before as well about solutions need to be local. Every country really needs to come to terms with the fact that they need to get solutions to deal with their own waste. We've seen in the UK this year. Been heavily documented how we export a high significant proportion of our tires to India, and that can't continue when we're trying to deal with sustainability issues. So as you said, local solutions are definitely the way forward.
I think UK was a brilliant example and opened a lot of eyes around the world of something that maybe was not so hidden, but but it's difficult to see sometimes. But there are solutions. There are high-end technology already available in the market that, in the UK, like in the market, could be adapted to the local markets without polluting around the world, and something that it's already available in the market that can be used.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, talks about the technology that's already available. And I know you've mentioned that you're looking to partner up with recyclers or companies in, for example, Australia or wherever that may be. But at the same time, are you exploring other technologies, other recycling methods such as debulk or pyrolysis, or is your focus more on your existing technology?
Well, that's our focus. Again, we keep innovating. So every time we build a machine, it's slightly different than the previous one, just because we keep progressing with knowledge that also we accumulate. Especially pyrolysis, it's different. It's more on the chemical recycling. We are partially mechanical, partially chemical, but we're good at what we do. I think the kind of capex needed for pyrolysis, the kind of technology, kind of organization, it's a bit of different set of skill that needs to be put in place. So we're not looking at that at the moment. But for sure, there's going to be synergies if you want on the collection, for example, and I think on the advocacy side to make sure that the regulators and the public and the private sectors, they are aligned in the objectives. There's certainly synergies there that can be put together.
Absolutely, and obviously we've talked a lot about your machinery and your technology so far, but you're also a product developer. Develop products. One product that caught my eye was your Resoft product. Could you talk to us about that product and how it is performing in the market?
Yeah. So we have different lines of products that go into different markets, as I was saying before. Shock pads for sports, acoustic management for constructions, or shock absorption for infrastructure. The shock pads for sports is possibly the one that is more distributed and adopted in Europe and in the US. And it's been performing extremely well, to the extent that the lifespan of a synthetic turf is anywhere between 5, 8, 10 years. Now we come to the point where the first generation of these pitches have been pulled up and renewed. Yes,
percent. Yeah.
But when they pull up the synthetic grass and they see the shock pads still intact, they actually say, "Well, why change it?" So, I mean, that talks to the quality, the quality of it. Maybe it might not increase the volumes, but it's a growing market. It's extremely positive, even to our surprise, the way that the products and the technology is being performing and being developed. We take all those learnings and we keep developing new projects. So if you see some of the samples we brought also to the round trip, it's really going from some of the current 2D, if you want, applications to 3D complexity, which is based on high-end engineering, but it gives a structure, hence a performance that you don't have somewhere else in the market. And I think that's the beauty of it. And a lot more can be done as well to develop new solutions together with the partners.
Absolutely. Is this the Resoft project?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how much of this product is made from recycled rubber?
So our machineries, they're modular, so we can tailor-made, but a standard machinery produces around 3,000 tons of product a year. Again, it's modular, so you can have 1 line or 10 line. And 70 to 80% of that output is made of recycled crumbs.
Oh, wow. Okay,
rubber.
Yeah, amazing.
So again, that's that high percentage of recycled materials, especially rubber crumbs, that goes into the product. That's, I think, the real innovation. And if you see it, the flexibility and and how compact it is. That ultimately, I believe, is if you want, the secret formula. Like the rubber is really intimately bound to the polymers, and through the process, it becomes a new compound, essentially a new material.
Interesting. And this product at the moment, is it only in Italy, or is it in other countries? Is it in other countries?
In different countries, you have different kind of products and agreements, but those shock pads, they are in Europe and they are in the US.
Okay, cool, cool. You looking to increase your exports of the product to other countries at all?
Yeah, I think as we said before, it's. I believe that the manufacture needs to be local to take advantage of the local collection, the local recycling, and the local distribution. So ideally, we would, with the right partners, set up manufacturing plants locally.
Okay. And finally, are there any other products at all using recycled rubber and end-of-life content that you'd be interested in developing?
Yes, there is plenty. I think
long list.
Yeah, I mean, there's, depending on who you're talking to, they come up with ideas and they say, "Can you do it?" And then when actually you get to it, because it takes time and investments and developments. But so far it's extremely positive. So talking about infrastructure, for example, anything that is shock absorption in highways, for example, asphalts. But talking about mining, debris chutes that convey the debris in constructions or in mining, or just inner liners of the dump trucks. Anything that can absorb an impact. That's something that we can develop.
Interesting.
We are developing applications with for sound insulation or sound management. So with metamaterials, having a specific design that can help manage the acoustics in infrastructures on highways, near cities or in rooms. So again, it's extremely versatile as a compound, and I think we can tailor-made an application to the need of an end user.
Fantastic. And before we wrap up this interview, is there anything else that you'd like to say to our viewers at all about your company Proge Plast at all?
It's great to be here. If you have ideas and you'd like to reach out, I think our focus is working together with the partners to develop solutions. We believe that technology can accommodate that. And so just reach out and let us know what's your ideas, and we can have a chat.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for your time, Dan. So there you have it. Proge Plast are looking for partners. Thank you for being part of this episode, and we'll be back very shortly with another episode of the Tyre Recycling Podcast.
Thank you.
That's all for episode 82 of the Tyre Recycling Podcast. A big thanks to Dan for participating and for being candid with his answers. In the meantime, episode 83 is in production, and that features an interview with the CEO of Rubberjet Valley, Tommaso Verri. Until then, goodbye.